Good morning and welcome to another warm summer day here in central Pennsylvania. We're going for a ride on the Tigre 800 today. Route 72 here north of Lebanon. And I thought I'd arbitrarily pick out 5 things that I like the most about this bike, and 5 things I dislike about this bike. With a nod to the Missenden Flyer in the UK, who makes tremendously good bike review videos. I'm going to borrow this from him. If you haven't seen the Missenden Flyer's channel, check him out. He has very similar tastes in bikes to me, although I do not share his strange lust for the Panigale, because I don't care for sport bikes. But other than that, we have pretty similar tastes. So we'll start off here with the 5 things that I probably dislike the most about the Tigre 800. And these are in no particular order, just as they come to me. I didn't give this a whole lot of thought before setting out this morning. But the most obvious thing I dislike about the Tigre is the gear ratios. Triumph gave this bike a close ratio gearbox. It's a 6-speed transmission. And the gearbox ratios are just really peculiar for an adventure bike. First gear seems to be a little too tall for pulling out. You really got to wind the motor up, otherwise you risk stalling it. The ratios are very close together, and you shift through them like nobody's business. They're just kind of silly. I don't know what they were thinking with these. I mean, I could see them maybe in like a speed triple or something like that, but on this bike they just don't make sense. And that's one of the things that they've changed in the new Tigre 900. It's probably my biggest beef with this bike. The next thing I dislike about this bike is the seat. I'm not really one that cares much for deeply sculpted seats. This one is to some degree, although it is adjustable. Front and rear height are independently adjustable, and you can get it to a semblance of comfort. But even with the adjustment proper, the padding is terrible. After about 100 to 150 miles, you really don't want to be on it anymore. I've tried a couple of solutions. I've used the sheepskin pad. That didn't really work. It worked very well in my KLR that I had, but it didn't work at all in this. And I've since gone to the taxi driver beads, and they seem to work the best for me. Another thing I dislike about the bike from the factory is the ergonomics. The handlebars are way too far forward for my liking. I have rocks risers on these and have it canted backwards, so it's a little more of a relaxed reach. The peg height for my 32-inch inseam, excuse me, it might be a 34-inch inseam, I can't remember, is a little cramped after a while. It's not that bad, but it takes a while to move the seat and get the handlebars and all that where you want, and then the pegs are just kind of there. I mean, I guess you can get something to move those, but I haven't bothered. So I don't care for that. That's number 3. And number 4 is the weight, how it carries its weight up high, and that's just kind of standard for an adventure bike. It's not really a Triumph Tigre specific complaint. Some bikes do it better than others. This bike is by far better than the V-Strom that I had before. The 650 V-Strom I found to be very top-heavy. Didn't like it at all in gravel, and was happy to see it go. It was a great road bike, but I didn't care for it at all in gravel. So if Triumph would have adopted a lower fuel tank like BMW uses on their F-Series twins, I think that would have been an improvement. The new Tigre 900 reportedly does carry its weight a little bit better. I can't say as I haven't ridden that bike yet. brings us to 4. For a 5th, I'm struggling a little bit, I'll be honest. Really isn't that much more to complain about. I guess the factory windscreen sucks because this one has a mad stat. I've heard a lot of people complain about that. That's really kind of it. See how these German cars do on this road here. They really are all that or not. So we'll move on to the 5 things I like best. And one is the overall weight of this bike. This bike actually weighs less than my Bonneville does, which is surprising considering its size. Well, it is a little portly because it's an adventure bike. In the overall scheme of things, it doesn't weigh much. Now, it doesn't carry its weight like a BMW, as I've mentioned. The Boxer Twins BMW is certainly going to be much more easier to manage moving them in and out of the garage and so forth. But for the weight of the bike and for the size that it is, I can't complain. I just wish it carried it a little differently. Another thing I like about the bike is the looks. A lot of adventure bikes I don't find all that appealing in appearance. The Africa Twin, and in particular the KTMs, I think they're just hideous. I don't like owning a bike I can't stand to look at. And that's kind of the way I felt about the V-Strom. It was an ugly motorcycle, especially viewed from the front. This, I think, does an admirable job of looking like an adventure bike without resorting to the insectoid look. I also like the handling. Now granted, this bike has had a modified suspension put on it. It has hypercoil shocks and springs, so it's better than a standard, but I'm really amazed at how easy it is to really lay this thing over in corners, and I'm not a sporty rider by any means. But it's really a remarkable handling bike for, I think, what it is. Dives into the corners very nicely. It's very easy to scrape pegs on this bike. You can really get it down low. I'm not impressed with these guys on their German cars, I must admit. Looks like the Porsche's indicating for a hairpin. Brother, I drove my 110 horsepower Audi GT up this road faster than these guys. And certainly one of the things I like most about this machine is the engine. This triple is just a wonderful, wonderful engine. It's got a throaty rumble to it, not a deep rumble, but just kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a very eager machine. It makes decent sounds. The factory muffler's a little too quiet for my taste, and the aftermarket ones cost a fortune, which is why I haven't done anything about it. But under heavy throttle, it sounds decent. Has a nice burble on the D-cell. The engine is the single biggest reason I keep this bike. I just love this triple. I've never owned a 4-cylinder bike, and I frankly don't see a reason to. That brings us to 4 things I like about the Triumph Tiger 800, I believe. What would I pick as a 5th? Probably just a host of little things. I like the countdown for the gas, how much is left in the tank. It actually seems to be pretty accurate. I've run this thing down to 0 and still had fuel left, which I'd rather it fault that way than the other way, obviously. The switch gear is nice. It's easy to find. Nice, good-sized knobs. things built of quality materials, and the newer ones are even nicer, I'll admit. I guess probably the fifth thing I like about it is that it's a Triumph. I'm not riding just another Africa Twin or just another V-Strom. I'm riding a Triumph, which is cool. I get to wear the same jackets and t-shirts as I do when I ride my Bonneville with the Triumph logo on them, so I don't have to buy a new kit. It's a silly reason, but it's a reason. So those are my 10 items, 5 pluses, 5 minuses, about why I think this bike is pretty cool. Now we'll talk a little bit more about it in general terms. Of the bikes that I own, this is probably the one that I thought about selling on occasion. Only because it's maybe not quite the right bike for the kind of riding I typically do. But the engine alone keeps me here in the saddle, because I do love this triple. And I've compared a lot of other bikes to the Tigre, and I just haven't found anything that I think is better. They all weigh more, or cost more, or taller, or they're ugly, or they're unreliable, or they're expensive. I mean, there's just nothing I can find that beats this. I bought this bike used, I think it's probably about 4 years ago, and I'll admit I stole it. The guy that had it had already purchased a new bike, just wanted this one gone. He was giving a truly insulting offer by the Honda dealer, where he was going to trade it in. And so he sold it privately, and he was just happy to get the money that he got for it, which is about twice what the dealer offered him. It was also a couple grand less than what it was actually worth at the time. Plus, as we'll see, it's fully farkled. This thing's got pretty much everything on it, and I'll go over those accessories when we do the walk around. I mean, really, guys, this is pathetic. These guys are posers. M5. Dude, you could take a bone stock 2002 of it down this road faster than this. Anywho, sorry about my rant. So this bike is just that good and that good of a value that I can't find reason to get rid of it. It's got 39,000 miles on it as we're riding it today. I bought it with somewhere in the low to mid 20s on it. I can't recall exactly. I want to say it was like 23, but it may have been more than that. Doesn't seem like a lot of miles, maybe over 4 years, but remember, I have other bikes and cars and so on that kind of distract me from taking this one out all the time. Now, reliability. So things I've had break. I did have a clutch cable fail. What I would call it prematurely, because I think it was maybe around 32,000. And the clutch, when I've had, the entire time I've had this, I never really thought it felt great. And I think the cable had been damaged somewhere along the line. So I'm not going to blame Triumph on that one. I just kind of think it was a damaged cable that went bad. I'm going to try a little gravel here today. I don't remember how great or bad this road is, so bear with me. recently had a shifter shaft seal start to go bad, start to weep a little bit. And there's a video I made about that because replacing that isn't as simple as it first appears, as there's a potential to screw it up, like I did, and have your shifting linkage inside the trans come apart. It's no fun. It's not catastrophic unless you want it to ride. I don't have knobby tires on this, so I am a bit of a wuss as far as speed on gravel because of that. It's just not that planted. Another thing that can happen to these is the front sprocket nut can come undone, and mine actually did that and fell off. And I don't know how long it was off because the sprocket was apparently still attached to the shaft. I stopped for gas, went to start the bike, and I had no gears. When I leaned the bike over, apparently the sprocket fell off the shaft. I didn't realize it at the time, so I had towed the thing home and figured it out when I was home in the garage. This is really washboardy. Yeah, I know I should stand up in the pegs more. Keep your critiques to yourself. I'm trying to think what else may have gone wrong. I think that might have been it. This is not one of the better state forest roads we have. Yeah, it's no KLR, but it's still better than my Strom was. And I realize a lot of that's the rider. I'm not the greatest rider. The KLR made me look like a hero. Because I had the right suspension and the right tires and all that. But riding one of these big things is a little different. Once you get away from the erosion, it's not too bad up here on the top of the mountain. A closed gate. Yes, one of the delightful things about Pennsylvania and their state forests is gates. They really seem to get off on closing off roads that I've paid for. Freaking idiots. Why is that closed? Not sure where that one goes. We'll go back up here and do the walk around in this nice little spot because there was some shade. All right, I will get the other camera out and we'll go around the bike, and I will not talk about the spec in the usual way. I'll leave that for the Missing and Flyer. Here is the Tigre 800. This is a 2012 model. This color is actually called gold or yellow or something, I believe, but I call it Caterpillar Guts Green. This is the roadie model. with the mag wheels. And it's got accessories galore. So I will point them out to you here. This does have the factory heated grips. It's an add-on. And I don't think these work in concert with the factory auxiliary lights. I believe they use the same plug. This bike apparently at one time did have the auxiliary lighting on it, which mounts somewhere down here. I don't know. I have the brackets but no lights. I don't know if he broke them or what. But I don't think I think it shares the same plug. It also has the Triumph headlight guard, a Madstad windshield upgrade. I'll show you how that mounts. I don't know if those aluminum brackets are factory from Madstad or if they're an owner add-on. I can't tell you for sure. There's also little winglets here that are held on by just two quick release screws, and I refer to those as the air conditioning because they divert a lot of wind in the cold weather, and then when you want to be cool in the summer, you take those off and you get a nice wind blast that's not annoying. Perfect. Brakes are stock as Nissan calipers. One of the brake rotors was warped or bent when I bought the bike, as it had a judder when you hit the brakes, and I just bought a Bike Master replacement for the one side, and it does not affect the braking. It is exactly as it should be with mismatched brake rotors on it. Triumph rotors were just way too much money. The front turn signals are not stock, those are LEDs. And yes, they blink too quick. I've tried to fix the quick blinking, and the electronics I bought didn't seem to work. And I've since decided that I don't care because I think it grabs more attention when people are following you to have the rear lights flash quick. This is the Triumph factory aluminum skid plate. These were on sale recently, and they may still be if you're watching this anytime since I've just made it. They were on sale. They were a pretty good deal. They're not super strong. They're better than the plastic one that was on there. But if you're doing serious off-roading, I think an aftermarket brand would probably be better. It has different foot pegs on it. I'm not sure what they are. They might be Triumph accessory. They were on it when I got it. The crash bars, well, a smart guy would have written down the name of them because I don't remember what they are. But they're big, they're ugly. Most people don't like these because they're pretty hideous. I mean, they're ginormous. But you can see how they fit on there. And you can also see that mine are bent. And these marks are mine. They were banged up and scraped before by the previous owner. It was a short fella. I can't be surprised that he dropped it a couple times. But that action's still a souvenir from this action that I got this nice scar from. Oil on the road will do that to you, ruin your day, and break your thumb. I put the bark busters on, again, souvenir from the thumb incident. This does not have cruise control, so a cramp buster was an essential tool for highway riding. You can see the seat is sitting on the bike kind of at an odd angle. That's a factory adjustment in play, and that's where I find it most comfortable. My taxi driver bead seat cushion there is adding a little comfort and airflow. Rear pannier racks. I have some more of these Pelican cases that just slide on there and lock in, single knob. They're lockable. It's very nice. Again, that was on it when I got it, so I can't claim any brilliance in buying those. Those are the stock turn signals in the back. It does have a LED quick flash taillight in it. Obviously the top box, which is also set for can't talk today. Rotax fuel canister, which I have. It goes on there, and that little wing thing clips it in. I think people think I'm reading satellites or something when they follow me. It's got a Motec chain guard on it. I'm not sure why anybody would buy that, but whatever. It's got a collapsible shift lever, which is great since this falls over. And that might be about it for fork-wheels and add-ons. You can't see the springs in the front forks, obviously, but there is the hypercoil rear shock and spring. I did have the forks apart and put new seals in because after my crash, one of them was leaking, and I think it was mostly because it had dirt in the seal more so than any other actual problem with it, because I checked everything and they were all true and straight, and having done them over, I have no leaks now, so I'm pretty sure it's just dirt got up in the seal. 800cc triple, obviously, 6-speed manual transmission. Oh, the tires, I guess we should talk about. I'm running Shinkos. This is the second set of these I've had. I'm trying to remember how many miles I get on these Trailmasters. The front one, I think, is the same one. The rear one, I'm on my second, if I remember right. And I want to say 6,000 miles. Does that sound right? They do wear. They're not the most durable. The center will wear down, obviously, faster than the corners will. Especially if you're riding a lot of road. But I like them because the rubber is relatively soft and they stick in the corners very well if you're riding sporty, doing a lot of turns and so forth. For a guy who's not the most experienced rider and relies on the grip, I think they're important to have. Will I buy them again? I bought them twice because the price is right, but I've been eyeballing some of the other longer lasting alternatives. I think there's a Mitas or Mitas tire that's worth looking at. And another one whose name I can't remember that was on the bike when I got it. A very stiff, long-lasting tire, but they are supposedly not so great in the rain. And I do ride in the rain on occasion, so I don't know. I stress over it every time it's time to buy another rear tire. The front I'm fine with keeping the Shinko on. Oh, it does have a center stand. I don't know if it came with it, but that is the factory one, I believe. And that's pretty much it. Do not ride with a pillion ever, so I can't give you any commentary on the rear seat. But she's a great little bike. I'm quite happy with her for the less than $6,000 I paid. And I'm going to get back on and do some more riding. You may or may not see it, depending on the footage I get, but thanks for watching. Thanks for riding along today. If you have any questions on the Tiger, don't hesitate to drop them in the comments. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you again soon.